Êtes-vous prêts pour le futur? Voilà. That is the extent of my French, I'm sorry. I am a bad student, but I hope to be better. In my presentation, I'm going to try to take you out a little future, forward. And the big question is going to be, are you ready? And what is it going to take to get your organization, to get your employees, to get your partners ready for the future? So I write books. I run a think tank called the Institute for Global Futures. We have many clients around the world. I spend some time in San Francisco. Most of the time is traveling, asking a very important question. What are the top technologies that will change the world? In this case, we're going to talk today about the future of the internet. But the integration of the internet with business is the fundamental shift that will drive competitive advantage. So my job today is to share with you the strategies and the trends that will shape where I think this future is going to go. I also want to talk about the raison d'etre of information. It's the most important thing I want you to take away, because we are in a sea of information and data and video and audio, and you're going to hear many other things talk about the future of the internet. But the important thing is, what is the meaning of the information in your business to your customers, to your employees? What is that meaning? And you have to be asking that question every single day, because it will dictate what kind of dollars or euros or what kind of value you want to put into, or investment you want to put into figuring out what this meaning is. So it's not about just pervasive connectivity. That's important. It's not just about mobile. Yes, that's important. You're going to hear about cloud computing and analytics. That's important. It's also about what is the meaning of that, and how can you extract and challenge your employees and your partners and yourself to answer that question. What is the meaning of this? Will it empower the customer to do more? Will it empower the employees to be smarter? Will it help us compete better and provide value? What will that look like? Every single day you have to ask this question. Now, I'm going to tell you a secret. Can you keep a secret? You particularly. You. Oh, good, good, good. Nobody has the right answer. Not the futurists, not the CEOs, not the biggest companies, not the smallest companies. We have opinions, but you have to validate them. This is a big experiment we're in right now in the 21st century. This is an experiment. There has never been a civilization that's had this much technology, this kind of connected technology to shape the digital lifestyle. This is all an experiment. We are not. You cannot run your business from looking in the rearview mirror. You have to look forward and be willing to experiment with new ideas. You have to be willing to hire the radicals, not those that come from the best schools or the best families, or maybe have wonderful training in marketing and finance. You have to be willing to experiment, because this is a huge experimentation. We are in an era of the transformation of business. Forget about technology. Technology is just the driver of this supreme transformation. But there will be winners and losers. So the trends or the technologies that will drive all of this, how well you experiment with these innovations will make the difference. This is all about a digital lifestyle, a new lifestyle that we're just inventing. So I'll talk about that. I'll also talk about this impact on your brand, what kind of impact the future of the web will be. And I'll talk about some other future technology trends. And if you want to follow up on kind of a larger conversation, because I'm here for just a half an hour, you can look at futureguru.com and learn more about what I'm up to. So let me move on. The top web trends. These trends will seem, and they will shake the very foundation of business. I will give you a big incentive why you need to be out front in terms of these trends, in terms of innovation. We're in an era of radical innovation. The head of IBM talked about this morning in terms of Moore's Law. It's not just the doubling in power of technology exponentially every year. I started at Apple Computer. I was on the original Mac team. When we brought out Macintosh, it was $2,300, $2,300, right? Probably the better part of 3,000 euros, you know? The other way around, right? And what we had was a 30 megahertz machine, very slow, black and white, small screen. $2,300 or 2,300 euros today buys you a supercomputer. And that was not even 30 years ago. We're in an era of radical technologies. Future web innovations will drive competitive advantage. These may be wearable computers. These may be computers that are intuitive, voice-activated, that follow us, that learn from us what we want, how we want. The high-velocity web is coming. This is one of the chief changes that's going to happen with the internet. High-velocity speeds. At the chip level, we are learning to create new speeds that will break through silicon. Silicon will be done. Silicon chips, what we make chips from, will be finished over the next 10 years. We will be entering a new era of computing chips and design based on quantum computing. It will not come to pass for another maybe 15 years or maybe less. But the era of extreme speed. And the real question is, though I can't tell you every single innovation, there will be changes certainly in lifestyle, pervasiveness, intelligent, wearable computers that have personalities, digitally engineered personalities that will advise us, search for us, transact for us. But I can tell you one thing, and that is that you have to have a business culture that embraces innovation. Today we're talking about web innovations. You have to have a business culture that is willing to experiment, willing to explore. Because every single day there are new things happening. Facebook purchased for $1 billion a company called Instagram 48 hours ago. Why? Little company, private, handful of people in San Francisco. Why did they buy that company? You need to know what's happening with some of the key players and companies that are acquiring other companies, because it will go to shaping your business. It will go to shaping. The future of the internet is about social multimedia sharing. For Facebook, it's about the interconnections. Their platform, they have a software platform called Open Graph. Make a note. When you go back to your offices, you want to ask your IT people, if you're not the IT people, how do we interact with Open Graph for our markets? How do we use Open Graph to better communicate and integrate our brands? What does Open Graph do that we should think about that as a new operating platform or strategy? How can we innovate, adapt, or die? And I know some people are saying, well, we're in France. We've got a market of 65 million people. We're not really pan-European, we're not really interested in selling in other markets. I've had 2 or 3 people say to me that. And I will say to you this. The question is, are you future ready? What happens with the internet is it creates an entirely connected global marketplace. I'm in Shanghai today, and I want to sell to your customers in France tomorrow. With a mobile internet, I can do that. So those that are thinking, well, we're protected because, our marketplace is here, we're involved in gardening equipment, we're not selling on the internet yet, or we're involved in some kind of media, but we're not on selling fully, or we're not translating, or don't wait for your competitors to wake you up. And don't think your competitors have to be French or European. They can be any place. In the world of an integrated, pervasive marketplace, notice I said marketplace, where you're talking about there are 6,000 active cell phones on the planet today. There will be within 24 months close to over 7 billion cell phones, almost as many people on the planet. Over the next 3 or 4 years, most of them will become smartphone ready, tied to the cloud. All of a sudden now you're talking about a virtual marketplace of billions and billions of people. People that can sell, people that can buy. The question is, as I started out, are you future ready? So let's talk about what the web future is going to be about. 3 critical domains. Connectivity. And again, these are for you to take back and to put on the whiteboard and for you to strategize with your company. How can we connect more? How can we connect more here amongst the employees? How can we share information more in real time connectivity? Not like next week, I'll call you next week, or I'll email you tomorrow. I'm talking about in real-time connectivity. 1, how do we connect with customers? More. Customers we don't have today, we would like to have. How do we do that? And what do we mean by connectivity? Is that information sharing, or is that services, or what is the value of connectivity? How do we connect about our brand value? And what is that brand value? How is it different? How do we want to change our connected brand value? Do we want that to be different? The second area is community. You no longer have markets and customers, really. What do you have? You have a community. You have a community of people that buy, that are interested in buying, that are buying from your competition, that buy from you sometimes. How you think about this community. How we think about communities is different. Think about a community as a culture. What is the culture of the community that you want to sell to or that you are selling to? That's a different strategic question. But that's the question you want to start asking. Remember, I said there's going to be different answers. But these are some of the questions. The third area has to do with collaboration. How do we want to collaborate differently? Collaboration is different than connectivity. Collaboration has to do with the transfer of value and maybe even the transaction of buying and selling of a good. What does collaboration mean to our customers? How can we collaborate with our customers to be able to figure out more about co-creating with our customers products that we have not created yet, or services we've not created yet? What does that look like? Is there an entirely new set of business services, new products, through that, what I call deep collaboration, we might be able to invent with our customer, that kind of collaboration? Who are the best collaborators in the world? Who are the ones that are, and what are they doing to collaborate? How does, let's say we like Google, good, or Yahoo is here, IBM is here, you have other companies here. Let me point out about something that's become quite the rage, which is contests for collaboration. Within a company, between all of its units, creating contests for deep collaboration to come up with new solutions. There's even websites that are focusing on deep collaboration. My favorite is called Gaggle. Kaggle. It's a website that has high collaboration. It's an open collaboration platform for solving big problems and small. I like contests. I like innovative ways to collaborate. You know, it creates, what it does is puts into the employee culture of a company fun. We need to do that more. Oftentimes when fun is extracted out, people get bored. We want to keep our employees happy, keep them competing for new ideas, new solutions, and also many of those solutions can do what? They can inspire customers. The future of the web is broken into a number of different key areas. You'll hear a lot more about this, but we're talking about in here about Web 4.0, but here's the bottom line. Mobility, any place, any device, anywhere. There's 7 billion jelly beans, 7 billion chips on the planet today that are in devices that are already connected. There will be over 100 billion within 8 years of devices. Your toaster, your car, your cell phone, of course, your clothing. The ability to be able to have the Internet of Things, which is a much bigger phenomena. The awareness and the evolution of things that have chips in them and talk to each other in a language. JP mentioned earlier about machine language, but already we have much of the Internet of Things in place. The new wireless standards that are emerging for cell phones, most of the global standards will make them near-field frequency ready. They will be able to talk to a variety of devices. In Asia, they talk to vending machines. We have certainly phones that talk to transit systems. But I'm talking about a P2P as well as a consumer to business. The ability of us to have pervasive connectivity through most of our mobile activities will challenge us to deal with, on one hand, visibility, connectivity. On the other hand, we have to be careful in business to deal with the issues related to privacy. I will tell you now, the spectrum of privacy on one side and connectivity and analytics on the other, where we're trying to figure out what people are using, where they are, how they're using it, analyzing their behavior. This is going to be a very big business, but it could also be hurt by the abuse of power that will come from knowing too much about people's behavior because of this connectivity of the Internet of Things. And that's because of geospatial. Just think of GPS. Think of every single device, your computer, your clothing, your shoes, your products, having some ability to not just communicate with other things, but also communicate where. The geospatial web is just emerging, just the beginning. This will represent entirely new kinds of markets, new products, new services that never existed before. When the areas of security, the areas of being able to understand the movement and logistics of things, this will be very important. It will also challenge us in terms of privacy. So the geospatial web, the mobile web, the semantic web, JP mentioned that earlier. Let me just put it to you this way. The semantic web is about the connection of information in a way that is much smoother and faster and more intuitive. Right now, the Internet is very dumb. It's not smart. It will evolve very quickly based on semantic technologies that will make the ability for the Internet to understand us much better. I call it the intuitive web. This evolution over the next 3 years, it's going to happen very quickly, is going to lead to not just faster speeds, but better accuracy. So here's what your mobile ecosystem is going to look like. Or I refer to it as the future of the digital tsunami. the integration of all different areas, whether they're transportation or energy, medical, big area you're going to see an evolution of the internet is going to be with medical. As we move towards wireless diagnostics, we're just starting to see the evolution of this now. But this evolution is going to be very fast. So if you take each of these different areas, security, entertainment, social networks are of course all part of that. All of these are going to make a vibrant impact on where we're going. But what I call the future of the data tsunami is recognizing that you're going to hear a lot more about cloud computing and data analytics, but what you're going to end up having is a lot more data than we're going to have the ability to process. So to give you an idea today, on the planet today, there's about maybe under 10 exabytes of information, of all the information on the planet. Over the next, not even 5 years, we will have likely 30 to 40 exabytes. So the ability, again, to be able to figure out what all this data means and apply it to our business is going to be our biggest challenge. Because the digital lifestyle means, regardless of what your age group is or where you're living on the planet, that is going to drive this. So by 2020, you're going to hear a lot more about the telepresence or immersive media, no longer about the web. The integration of the web with a telephone, with a television, with a computer will occur over the next 36 months. The iPad is just the beginning of that phenomena. You want to think about the implications of this integration and how it's going to affect the creation of media that even consumers might make. You want to think about this in terms of smart mobility. You're going to hear eventually about 3D and holographic, or what I refer to as enhanced reality, blended realities. And the big strategic question is, how will this empower me? That's what your customer wants to know. How are you going to empower me? This is Instagram. Check out Instagram, which they purchased Facebook for $1 billion. The integration of this platform, because you could perhaps use it. I mentioned Gaggle. This is another interesting website that, again, points to the future of the internet and points to knowing around the world who is trying to solve what kinds of maps and where. Well, you're going to hear a lot more about social networks, but again, I want to keep kind of coming back to this notion as I wrap up here and say, look, this is not just about extending your brand onto mobile networks. I think that's important. This is about ultimately connecting with customers in a fundamental way and trying to understand their connectivity with you and why that's important. Empower them with information so they can do more. Empower them so they can have more prosperity, more collaboration. Try to understand that the era of traditional marketing is over. It's done. It's finished. We're in an entirely new era, the social graph. So the ecosystem of relationships about how you're created, how you are connected is going to be what's important. And the last question I'm really going to ask you when I go through these strategies is, it's about empowering me. What are you going to do to empower me to get my loyalty? So empower customers with knowledge, information that will help them accomplish their goals. You got to know what their goals are. 2, your mobile branding. If you don't have a mobile branding strategy yet, or how your company, your products, your services are going to look on a mobile platform, develop it now. And it should not be the same thing as what you're doing on the web. It should be divided and focused on a mobile platform. 3rd, the raison d'etre of information. Big data analytics. You can hear a lot more about this. Don't get focused on the big part. Get focused on what does it mean for me? What does it mean for my employees? What does it mean for our customers? And the what does it mean should be focused on empowerment. 4, customer co-creation. If you need to engage the customer to focus on creating with you products and services, and even how you want to look. Look at contests, look at what other companies are doing. 5, digital transactions. Is your website, your mobile site, digitally transaction ready? Are you ready for digital transactions? 6, cloud computing. Whatever you're doing on the desktop, you need to be doing in the cloud. You need to be providing self-service services for customers to do more in the cloud. Your employees need to be doing more in the cloud. You need to be using cloud and securing the cloud and thinking about the relationship between private clouds and public clouds. This is going to be a huge trend and opportunity. And number 7 is entertain me. It's not all about just selling stuff. Entertain me. And with that, let me just say, this is a connected planet, diverse cultures. Figure out beyond your borders, beyond your markets, what are the communities you want to empower? And again, my final thought is, you answer the question for your organization what future readiness is all about. It's going to be different for you, in your business, in your industry, than it will be for others. But just asking the question, how do you want to get ready for the future? What kind of culture do you want to have? Do you want to have one that embraces innovation, that's out in front of the customer, that's leading the customer, or do you want to be playing catch-up with the customer? That's your choice. And with that, I will say adieu. Thank you very much.